From the nation's capital, this is the 6th edition on News Central TV. I'm Nelta Egbe. Our top stories at this hour. INEC says it's ready for Saturday's FCT Area Council elections. Lawmakers question oil revenue, debt projections. U.S. Supreme Court blocks Trump's global tariffs without congressional approval. We'll bring you details in a moment. Ahead of the Federal Capital Territory Council elections scheduled for Saturday, the 21st of February 2026, the Independent National Electoral Commission says all necessary arrangements have been put in place for smooth and credible exercise across the 6 area councils of Abuja. At a media briefing in the Federal Capital Territory, the Commission outlined its level of preparedness, including logistics, personnel deployment of sensitive materials, and voter education for all staff. Our correspondent, Charles Pius, reports.
Officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission converge for a stakeholders briefing in Abuja. With just hours to the Federal Capital Territory Council election, the Commission says it's stepping up preparations to ensure a hitch-free exercise across the 6 area councils. The resident electoral commissioner for the FCT, Aminu Idris, explains the voting process for Saturday's poll and what voters should expect at polling units.
People will come, they will be verified as a registered voter. You can either use your fingerprint or your face. The beavers from the mock exercise we did, we discovered that the face is even faster. And then you'll be given your ballot paper, you go and vote and drop it in the box in the open. That's the process. And then at the end of the close of poll, the presiding officer will empty the box and count it in front of everybody. And they enter the score on the EC8A.
The Commissioner also confirmed the distribution of sensitive materials to all the 6 area councils in the territory.
The Commission is also establishing and activating the Election Monitoring and Support Center, EMSC. The EMSC has been established and activated to provide real-time monitoring of the electoral process. This center will enable the Commission to track developments across all polling units and registration areas and respond promptly to challenges and ensure timely decision-making.
On voter education and the legal framework guiding the poll, the head of voter education for INEC and the FCT, Samuel Bassi, says that the subsisting electoral law will be strictly applied throughout the electoral process.
We are using the extant law for this. Whatever subsisting law we have, that's what we're going to use for this election. The voting pattern is open secret ballots. Everything about that except the actual thumbprinting for a party of one's choice is secret. The accreditation, the admission into the polling units, the accreditation process, and the actual casting of vote is open. Then at the cubicle, thumbprinting for your preferred party is secret. So it's open secret ballots.
With over 1.6 million registered voters expected to participate in the exercise across the 6 area councils of the FCT, the Commission says all is now set for the conduct of the poll. In Abuja, for News Central, Charles Pius.
Well, staying with the FCT Council polls, a mild drama has ensured as it appears to have split some communities in the FCT, like the Igbo community. A few days ago, some leaders of the Igbo community had come out to endorse the candidate of one of the parties for the Abuja Municipal Area Council chairmanship position. However, this is not going down well with members of the group, as they say the decision was not unanimous and does not represent the interest of Southeasterners living in the capital.
We are here for the briefing with the aim of debunking the erroneous endorsement of the candidate of a political party by some persons who claim to be Igbo leaders of Igbo community in Amak.
We will not allow ourselves to be led by the nose by mercantilist leaders, in quotes, who will go out to take peanuts or aggrandize themselves and come to speak for the totality of all of us. We must stand up and say no to that type of mercantilism. 4 years ago, a young man came up and mounted the saddle of the leadership of INEC. And we have seen the tremendous relationship that has grown between not just our traders.
Well, staying with election issues, the need to promote social justice by tackling issues such as poverty, exclusion, gender inequality, unemployment, and human rights have been brought to the fore as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate World Day of Social Justice, marked on February the 20th annually. The representatives of civil society organizations are calling on governments at all levels to do more to end all forms of social injustices in the country. Being joined by Newton Osemai, Social Mobilization Specialist, ActionAid Nigeria. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, today is World Social Justice Day. Now, it so happens to also be a day before the FCT Council polls. If you want to look at the two of them, in terms of when we talk about elections and social justice, would you say that Nigeria has been pursuing social justice in any way?
Not really. It's laughable because it's difficult for someone to really situate the reality on ground with social justice. If we go by the definition of social justice, because social justice strongly is connected to just, it's connected to inclusivity, it's connected to equitable society, as it were. So, election process in Nigeria, do we agree generally that it's just? I doubt. Do we agree it's equitable? I doubt. Do we agree it's inclusive? I doubt. So, yeah, there's a gap between what social justice stands for and the kind of elections we have in Nigeria present.
Well, in this call that being made by civil society, tackling issues of poverty, exclusion, gender inequality, unemployment, and human rights, it's only the, in quote, elected in office that can sort of handle these issues. It looks as if these issues are issues on the table of the elected officials or public officers to handle. But that is not the situation. So what would you be saying to those who are seeking for office now, even saying to the rest of the country, even those in the private sector? But what would you be saying to them in terms of tackling issues of inequality, gender inequality?
I think I've argued strongly before that in Nigeria we really don't have problem with the good intentions from government. We don't have problem with their rhetorics. The only problem is translating these intentions and rhetorics into actions that will benefit the people. Have we got plans? Yes, we've had plans in the past, right from Obasanjo time. You have NEED. You have anti-SAP, you have all these programs we are designed to actually lift people out of poverty and make life better for people. As beautiful as those programs were, and as beautiful as those programs were with those government, the problem that we had has always been translating this program to the benefit of the people, as it were. So that has not happened. That disconnection is what civil society keep crying out for, to say, look, programs should be translated. Programs should be people-driven. I think that is the bottom line. It should be people-driven. It should not be political party-driven. It should not be individually driven. It should be people-driven. You know, the sense of why you are designing a program is to actually make it work for people in the society. When that is not happening, of course, you have a lot of resistance, you have a lot of agitations around, and that is what we are still experiencing today.
So even as we mark the 2026 Social Justice Day, what do we do? How do we move away from this space? Both, and in this case now, because sometimes we tend to shift everything and put it on the shoulders of those in office, because we'll say that they chose to come out and serve the people. But of course, every human being or every one of us has his own share of that responsibility. In what way can we manage this while we are looking to see those in public office take their place and lead? How can the rest of us even find our own space?
But our responsibility is clear, even in the Constitution. There are so many things that the government is supposed to provide for us. Our responsibility is to ensure that those things are are there. And that is what I think Nigerians have been doing, to ask questions, to monitor government, to demand for accountability and transparency. That is our responsibility. So you have the supply and the demand side. The demand side is actually working. They are demanding, and the demands are not dropping. The supply is not actually flowing to see how the demand side can work in the society. But honestly, from the civil society angle or from the citizens angle, what they need to do is to really get organized properly and think of how to use the weapon that Constitution has provided for them, which is their vote, to either vote somebody who is not responsible, who's not responsive to their issues and plight out of power, or vote those who they think can actually provide their demands for them into power. So the power still relies on us to decide to make that decision. But on the contrary, also, that power also has been skewed. If you look at how elections are carried out in Nigeria, there'll be a lot of agitations around the Electoral Act 2026 that was just passed, bill that was just passed into law, that there was so much discretionary power given to people to decide the fate of millions of people in Nigeria, and that agitation has been very, very strong. So we are so concerned about where are the loopholes that empower ordinary people, that empower few people in the sense of it, because the social justice thing we are talking about is trying to bridge the gap between the have and the have-nots.
And yet that gap still
That
remains.
gap is
But
still-
you know,
is still there.
you know what? Let me just ask you to hold your thoughts there. Let's look at this, and then we'll come back, because this might help you answer the next question I'm about to ask you. Ahead of the February 21st Area Council elections in the Federal Capital Territory, residents of Kaida Sabo are calling on the government for urgent intervention and provision of basic amenities which they say are lacking in the communities. They say while they are ready to cast their vote in the elections, they hope the winner will pay attention to their concerns. Our correspondent Idong Joseph visited the community and filed this report.
Resident of Kaida Sabo, a rural community within the Dobi ward of the Gwagwalada Area Council, say years of neglect have left them in their need of basic social amenities such as good roads, schools, electricity, hospital, and portable water.
If you can see the water we are drinking, you will pity for us. We have a little borehole there, but it's not enough for us. Most of our women go to river. If you can see the water we are drinking in the river, there is no the one we can bath or wash our this thing with.
Like in this our own community entirely, there's a lot of villages in this our backyard of this our community, but lack of road to transporting their goods to the village, to the city, it's the problem that bring all these things to us. Lack of road.
They say despite the many needs of the community, the current chairman of the Gwagwalada Area Council, Abubakar Jibril Giri, no doubt has brought a bit of development to the area.
Now, there is a lot of things that he has tried, but it's not all. Like street light that we have seen, he's the one that did it to us.
And second of upgrade our chief from community leader to Dagachi. So we cannot say that he has done a lot, but we can give him a half mark.
With the absence of basic social amenities visible in many rural communities in the Gwagwalada Area Council, residents of Kaida Sabo are calling for attention to some of these needs which are essential.
Babban kukanmu muna neman taimako a gurin gwamnati. Muna so makaranta. Kuma mu mata muna neman taimako a gurin gwamnati ya zo ya sa mana hannu a zo a taimaka mana ko da ɗan jari mu yi business da shi.
We don't have water now. We need water in our village. We need people that will help us and give us this water because we don't have it. So there is stress before we get water. Please, we want people to help us and give us water.
While preparation for the FCT Area Council election is in the last stage, residents are hoping that whoever emerges as chairman of the Gwagwalada Area Council will prioritize their most basic needs. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
We'll take a moment, and when we'll come back, Newton Oshemai, Social Mobilization Specialist, Action Aid Nigeria, is still in the studio, and we'll weigh in on that the desire of the people as we go into the FCT Council polls tomorrow. Welcome back. We still have Newton Oshema, a social mobilization specialist from Action Aid Nigeria, in the studio. Newton, before we went on that break, I know we're talking about social justice, and we talked about issues of poverty, inclusivity, provision of basic amenities, for instance. And then we heard the residents of Kaida Sabo in Gwagwalada local government area talking about what they're hoping whoever wins the council polls will be doing for them when they come into office. But why should they even be hoping for these things when the Constitution has even said that the number one responsibility of any public office holder is the welfare and security of their citizens? But then we see things like where budgets for travel, budgets for vehicles and accommodation of public office holders outweigh budgets for even security, not to talk of social welfare.
If you ask me, the simple definition of the situation that we are in right now is a clear sense of state capture, where the people no longer have their voice heard anywhere. And they actually beg for ordinarily what should be theirs as if it's a luxury. Like the video you showed now. I know Kado So and Kaido Sambo or so, those two communities. I know those communities have been there before. The last time I visited one of the communities, I think that's Kado So or so. Kaida So. It's when somebody is sick in that hospital, in that community, it takes them about 2,000 naira to take a bike to the nearest hospital, which is in Gwagwalada. Okay. So that shows what social injustice is all about. That some persons are in Maitama, some persons are in Asokoro, some persons are in Abuja, and you still have this kind of communities all around the FCT. And the FCT, in the last 2 years, the FCT minister has pumped so much money in developing the heart of the town without thinking, considering the people who are in the communities.
But these are part of the responsibility. No, the area councils have their own responsibilities. Constitutionally.
The thing about the area council is this. What happens here in the FCT is also what is playing out in the state. Local government chairmen don't really have powers in the state. The monies that gets to the local government, those monies are actually meant for the state government. That is how it works. That's how it works. You know, you see on paper that they will tell you, oh, local government has gotten so and so amount, XYZ amount. That money is under the control of the state government. The local government are like an appendage or an appointees of the state government. Because if you don't do what I want, I will kick you out of power. You can see the electioneering that is playing out right now in the FCT, where the FCT minister summoned all the local government chairman, telling them that just do what you have to do, I will do the rest. Yes.
No, I mean, I heard one statement accredited to the FCT minister where he says, if you do not support the re-election of the president, I will not allow you to win.
The recent one is, you just do what you have to do and leave the rest for me. This is a common parable. He stated that, he made that statement. He was talking to his appointees. That's what it means. Ordinarily, this is, we have by constitutional provision, there should be 3 tiers of government. You should have the federal, the state, and the local government. The local government should be an entity of itself, not an appendage of the state government. But unfortunately, this local government is so tied to the state government that they don't have their own autonomy. So that is the problem. So when somebody say, oh, what should the local government chairman be doing? What should the local government be doing? Local council, and what have you been doing? The question is, do they really have the resources and the power per se to do what they should be doing? It's a big question. If we have a functional local government in Nigeria as it stands, state government will have nothing to do anymore. I can tell you. Because if you look at the categorization, every state government all local governments are part of the states. And even the state governor or the state government is in a particular local government. So what is he actually doing? What is his responsibility? That's the question. If you give the real responsibility to the local government to do, what is the responsibility of the state government? So they are all designed in a way. That is why I said we need to review the way our government is structured so that we reduce wastage. We reduce.
Newton, we really have to go, and I'm hoping that we can keep you around and maybe bring you in tomorrow when we're looking at the election proper. I mean, the area council elections tomorrow. Maybe we'll bring you in because there are some questions out. I wanted us to look at some things. Look at the functions of the local government, for instance, what they're supposed constitutionally.
Yeah.
So that if a local government chairman fails to do these things, or the local government fails to do some of these things, the citizens or residents in that area can go to court and have that local government council shut down because they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then we really have to hang it up here for now. Thank you so much. We had Newton Oshemaye, Social Mobilization Specialist, Action in Nigeria. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
And we do hope, this is me inviting you publicly, to try and be around tomorrow. Let's see how we can have conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Amid ongoing speculations of alleged anti-party activities within the People's Democratic Party, a faction of the party has criticized reports alleging that its candidate for the FCT Area Council election had stepped down for the candidate of the All Progressives Congress. The factional policy secretary, INEC Mobong, spoke on reports that some PDP candidates were allegedly asked to step down in favor of a ruling party candidate, a development he described as inconsistent with the principles of the party. And just let's move away from the politics and talk about the second edition of the Niger Delta Games, which is set to begin at the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium in the Benin City, Edo State capital, South Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu is expected to declare the games open. The games, sponsored by the Niger Delta Development Commission, will see over 4,000 athletes compete for lures in various sporting events. We'll be crossing over to that live event at the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium in Benin City now.